We have a few. All right. Well, welcome everyone to the Cloud Foundry TOC meeting for July 5th, 2022. We've got a few items on the agenda, standard ones of reviewing actions from last week, reviewing outstanding PRs. I've got one about selecting the TOC chair, and then of course, any other business. In terms of actions from last week, well, one of those is that we need to vote on the chair for the TOC, so we'll get to that one. And then we also had one about adding words to the TOC Parting Messages document. I think all the parting folks are not on this call. Rob, did you get the responses you needed from everyone?
I did, so I think you can safely knock that off.
Great.
I'll be publishing it this week. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Well, before we get into the PRs, actually, should we reorder these to talk about the TOC chair?
Yep.
All right. Well, yeah, we need to select one. We talked last time about really having valued Lee's representation of the public sector on the board. So, Andy, is that something you feel like you'd be interested in at least giving a shot?
Yeah, happy to.
All right. Well, any should we have a vote on appointing Andy the TOC chair? All approve? Okay, any objections? I think Andy, even if you objected, you'd be outvoted, so sorry. All right, well, congratulations, Andy. Welcome to the TOC chair position and the governing board as well.
Bravo. And I'll get you squared away with the governing board later today. I'll send an email out to them and add you to the mailing list and get you an invite for the next board meeting.
All right, well, should we go over to the project board and take a look at outstanding issues and PRs? I will start dropping links into the chat. I'm going to look at the to review column. I'm looking at things just that are labeled TOC and that are not in a draft state. So first up, we've got this outstanding PR about adding garden repos. I think maybe the TOC had done everything we need to do in terms of approving this, but we still needed to get some sign off from the App Runtime Platform Working Group itself. So we had pinged Amelia on this, but she hadn't responded yet. Okay, well, I guess we can just keep monitoring this, maybe give her a reminder if we haven't seen any response in the next week or so. All right, next one up is Ruben's RFC about stem cell cleanup, which we'd said is going into the final comment period for last time for a week. So we're actually at the point where that should close out. I had made and then just committed a few minor editorial suggestions, but otherwise looks good to me.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, so I think this is now just at the point where we need to decide on final approval. So we could do that now, especially since all the TOC folks are here.
Yep. Just a sec, just having a read.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
All right. Well, should we call for a motion to approve this RFC? All right. All in approval.
Yep.
Okay, any opposed? All right, that is accepted. Go ahead and merge that one.
It still needs this magic script, right? To give it a number.
Oh yeah, we'll have to run that afterward. So we haven't automated that. That'll be fine. Yeah. All right. Well, the next one up in the to review column is transferring Bosch bootloader to app runtime deployments, which I believe we talked about last time.
Yep, there was no working group meeting of the CF deployment working group, if I remember correctly. It would be. Don't see it this Thursday. It's next week on Thursday, the 14th of July.
Okay.
Is the next meeting, and yeah, I guess that's then the point in time to talk about it.
All right. Well, we can just wait until that time then,
yeah,
to see if we get a response from the working group. All right, moving on, we've got one that we talked about last time about updating the build pack team repositories in the app runtime infrastructure working group or interfaces working group. This is one where I believe we had some discussion last time about the degree of permissions and downgraded those folks to write instead of admin.
Yep. I mean, I have 2 more PRs later in this review section, which, if we agree, could enable the automation, and then we would get, let's say, the correct app runtime interfaces, working groups and teams, and then we can maybe just delete the other ones, and also especially Greg could compare the access rights, and then you would get write access and not admin access.
Right. Yeah. I guess this is also fixing some things in the working group YAML itself. So removing some stale folks, and
yeah,
I guess
it's
just
an organ. Yeah, it
okay.
would match what is specified in the YAML block. So I have no problem if we want to do it, but then it has to be. I mean, editing this big Cloud Foundry YAML, it's a mess.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess Greg has done that for us at this point, and then we would just wipe this out later, presumably. Well, I mean, we've got a quorum of approvals on this, so we could merge this now.
Good, of course, yeah. Done.
Oh, I see. David has some changes that are requested. Okay, well, I can just go ahead and merge this, because those have been addressed. He just didn't resolve the comment. All right, next item on the queue. Looks like 319. This is approver status request. I think this is primarily a working group decision. We should just look over it and make sure that there's nothing unusual happening.
Yeah, it was more of a we might need a TOC override, but Beyhan is here now, so if he was on parental leave first, so it was more of a. But Beyhan, if you can approve this PR, then we can just merge it within the working group.
Yeah, I will look into it. Just now with the phone, and it's a little bit challenging.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, I also posted the links on Slack, man. So maybe can get to it
Yep.
later.
Okay,
Yeah.
why don't we just let this go for another cycle? All right. Next up is 333. So this is formally tracking approvers as reviewers, which we had some discussion of last. Oh, I guess we discussed doing this last time, and then Ruben, you just submitted an RFC for this. I see.
Yeah, that was the outcome last week, right? We said,
Yeah.
this probably go through an RFC.
Great.
Okay.
Great. So I guess we should all just take a look at that. How about I record that as an action item for us to do? Great. And this is again proposing that we have per area teams of reviewers so that we can grant people the level of permission that they need to actually get assigned reviews to the repos in that area.
Yeah, it's about the assigning part and also about the just tracking it, making it more like visible that they are like working on getting those contributions to be able to get become approvers.
Great. All right. Well, we will all take a look at that.
Mhm.
All right. Next thing up is another RFC about a stem cell release schedule. Drop in the link to that. This is 331. It looks like, Ruben, you've already had a chance to review this and you've asked some questions or requested some changes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, like, what this is gonna like realize, right? Because releasing stem cells is difficult. As in, like, you need to make sure that these pipelines stay green all the time. So it is slightly different than what we're currently doing, as in it proposes to distinguish based on CVE score or something instead of like using the canonical priorities given by canonical, which would be work to make that change, and I don't know if it's worth it. Also, it proposes to do like weekly releases of stem cells with like the medium and low CVs, which is a lot of overhead. And I find it difficult to figure out like what the value is there, because these are not high CVs we're talking about, right? Because like for high CVs, there's not a lot changing with this proposal, more formalizing it. For medium to low, it is changing, just adding a lot of overhead. And then the proposal is to do it on Patch Tuesday, which is already a busy day because of like we have the Windows stem cells going out then as well. So yeah, I said, like, as I said in the thread, I think it's better to like address this more of a in a softer approach, as in like try to get more people involved in the cutting of stem cells from your company, right? Try to get them with approver status and help that way, instead of making it like a formal RFC, right? We are not gonna be able to enforce this in any way as a TOC. This is not within our power, right? We are not responsible for resource allocation. So yeah, I don't know if it's gonna achieve much.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. I mean, this this could even be an RFC, but also even just scoped to the foundation infrastructure working group, because that's really the only working group that it applies to. So I could see this definitely also getting resolved as just a working group internal matter. Yeah, I agree that,
I mean, this
like, there's
request
not,
to ask the author of this RFC to engage more here is fair enough. I
Yeah.
know who it is, so I can check a bit in the background. But yeah, I agree with Ruben.
Okay, well, let's let discussion continue on the GitHub comments, and maybe we can come to some like resolution of a softer policy that seems like it'd be sustainable for the working group, while still addressing whatever the concerns are here. All right, last one in the to review column. We've got one again, I think just a working group staffing change. So it's something that we would really just need to make sure isn't affecting anything outside of the domain of the working group.
It is proposed by the working group lead, and it has 2 approvals from current approvers. So I think it should just be merged, right?
Yeah.
And I think the working group lead can do that herself, right? At this point.
Yeah, looks good to me. I don't see anything out of bounds in the PR. So. We've got Marcela, can you merge this yourself now?
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, and then we've got a few of the things that are in progress.
So I would like to talk at least about the last 2 things that I just moved there, but we can also go from top to bottom. I don't care.
Yeah, should we cover the new ones first, Stephan?
Okay. So the first one is 332. It's about the generation of the TOC and team, and also assigning the admin rights to the new TOC members. And in the same PR, I also ensured that then Lee and David have the are in the contributors role, so that there's no problem with when they have. I think Jan had some rights and some non-standard teams, and yeah, then problems occur. Should work. So if we merge this one, yeah, everyone should have the right access rights, hopefully. From my point of view, it works. I checked the result. And if something goes wrong, you can complain. I will fix it.
Chris can always straighten something out if we all get removed from level of
Yeah, this
permissions.
one is a bit it's a bit spicy as well, because it really addresses the admin part of the org. So in the worst case, we need then Chris to clean it up.
There's also flags that we have in the GitHub automation with a few authors that are like that's like if we screw up, then it will fail because those are supplied at the CLI level.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, should I merge?
Let's do it.
Okay, that's done. And the other one is to enable the automation for all working groups, the GitHub team automation setup. So in the past, I had only 2 working groups for test driving it, but I would say it's all fine. And it will, the only working group that is really affected is the service management team because of the bots, but I think that's cleaned up. So it should be okay.
I think the automation is currently red.
Yeah, is it timing out or is it failing on something else?
There's with the timeout, well, the real automation doesn't time out, but the combination of the automation, if there's some content problem, and then the generation of a dump that times out. That's something I would try to approach later. If we separate that into 2 GitHub action jobs, then we have double the timeout. But the real, maybe we merge it, get everything in, and then it may need one more time a run through this Cloud Foundry YAML to clean up if somebody removed a person from the GitHub as a GitHub member manually. Then this is something, yeah, in the long run we need to avoid it, but at the moment it's difficult as long as we have these non-standard teams still inside. Yeah, the PR validation is still running because I rebased it recently. Yeah, I could wait until the PR validation is done, but we can also merge it independently of what is done and then check the real Peribolus run, whatever you prefer.
Happy to move forward there. Like just merge it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
Then
gave an approval. Any objections or people want any more time to take a look at that?
Okay, merged. Good.
You can always undo it if there's a problem,
long run.
So yeah.
Yeah, of course. Okay, that was all on the automation, and then we could maybe not this meeting, next meeting, start to talk about the spicy PR to get rid of the non-standard teams.
262. The big kahuna.
Yeah. Doesn't help. We have to approach it.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Well, yeah, I guess now that 317 is merged and we're going to get all of those teams for all the working groups, then we're in a position where I think we could just pull the cord on the spicy PR and then deal with the fallout. All right, there's just a couple other things that are in progress here. One of them is 220, which I think we had realized last time was kind of stale. Oh, I think it was just because there was a conflict with the old working group description. It predated the embedded YAML. Let me check and see if that's actually now just represented in the list of repos. Unless someone wants to beat me to it. This is App Runtime Platform. Oh yeah, so it looks like we incorporated this already when we reformatted the YAML. So this is actually just obsolete now. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and make a comment on this that we're just going to close this out, but I'll link to the exact line of the working group structure showing that it's in there. All right, and then the last thing that's in that column that we haven't talked about is 279. This is the RFC for the app runtime interface working group about moving build pack dependency repositories to CFF AWS accounts. And this was just really the CloudFront thing. So I'm trying to remember where we had gotten to on this. Had we just decided we would give this a shot, moving the like creating a new CloudFront distribution in CFF, and we can switch over the DNS to that, and we'll just see how much it costs. And if it's more expensive than we expect, we could just switch back to the VMware one as a stopgap.
That's basically a decision of the app runtime interfaces working group, right? Like how to operate it. If it makes sense, yes, there's nothing to object against it.
Yeah.
And if it works, so yeah.
Okay, well, I think why don't we can just proceed async with approvals and commentary on this, and also coordinate with Greg, since he's really the main person driving this and is in the working group. Okay, so I think at this point, this is mostly a working group matter, but we can follow up to comment that we're okay to proceed on this, at least on a trial basis, but we'll monitor the cost. All right. Well, I think the only other thing that we've had in flight in discussion is wanted to get any updates about whether we're going to end up supporting Stratos. And so we've got Norm on the line. Norm, do you have any further updates on that? I don't see Norm responding, so maybe he stepped away for a moment. All right, well, we can keep checking in on that. If Norm resurfaces in the next minute or two, then we'll bring it up. All right, well, I believe that's all the outstanding PRs that we had tagged for the TOC to take a look at. Is there any other business we need to discuss?
Yeah, I have one topic. So you know already that I'm in parental leave, and I would like to focus on that and be less active until I am back again. So that means beginning of September. So I would then start again, be more active, and I wanted to somehow decide on how, if there is something I need to do, how to maybe just ping me in Slack, and I will check once per week also that I can react on that.
So might be end of August, beginning of September might be a bit tricky, because then at least I am in vacation as well. So I think last week of August and then the first 3 September weeks I will be out of office. I will announce that in the private talk channel in due time. Don't know about vacation plan of others, but it might be an impact on our possibility.
We may have difficulty retaining quorum, but
yeah.
No, that sounds fine to me, Beyhan. Yeah, definitely. We want you to make sure that you're able to focus on the more important personal responsibilities that you have right now. So. So we'll do our best to be respectful of your time and attention in any matters.
Thanks.
All right. Any other topics to discuss before we adjourn?
Nope.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for today. Thanks for joining, everyone. Great to see you all. And see you next week.
See you
next week.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.